everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's Sunday Night Live and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has demanded a PSG star. We'll be talking about that in reports around the UK today. Lots of other things as well. And what a massive week it is for Manchester United now. What a massive week and next few weeks it is for Manchester United now. This international break shit is almost over. And with that, we can now start to focus on what is a very, very important time for ourselves, for Arsenal, for Chelsea, for Spurs, for City, for Liverpool. This is real, and I think this international break has come at the right time. We've got some injuries that we can bring back into the team, but more importantly, this lull is going to hit us hard next Saturday. We've got to beat Watford, we've got to beat Wolves next Tuesday, and we go for it. For everyone saying who's live and late, do you call yourself United Stand community members? Because you might understand why I'm a little bit late tonight. I've been in London doing United Stand FC trials, and I literally got back about 45 minutes ago. So cut us a little bit slack, 10 minutes late. Deal with it, or actually get in the loop and figure out what's happening with your channel. Brilliant day, really enjoyed it. It's amazing that we've had these trials today and all the people that have turned up are United Stand community members, and some of them are real ballers at football as well, which is really, really exciting. So we'll have a video going up of that in the week. The big first step was smashing Arsenal Fan TV 3-1 with a bunch of strangers, but now we're going to build a proper team, kits, everything. So really excited about that. It's all coming. So keep involved with the United Stand for that. Very, very excited. And Goldbridge manager is ready. Big decisions to be made, but some very, very, very good players that are going to be fit what the United Stand should be all about. I've got a vision of the sort of team I want. I want a dominant centre-back. I want width. I want fighters in the midfield who can move the ball around, who can carry the ball, who can pass the ball, who can put a bit of tackling, and then finishers up front. It's going to be exciting. But that perfectly, almost seamlessly, feeds in to the point that we talk about a midfielder. What sort of midfielder do we want at Manchester United? Matic, I think mainly people think he's a little bit slow. Herrera, very good box-to-box. Will he still be here next season? Yes, I think he will. But is he here for a long time? Probably not. So what are we looking at? I think everybody knows that we need to bring a midfielder in this summer. Most of us think we need a CDM. A lot of talk of Dembele without United realistically being linked to him. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but I would lean on the fact that I don't think it would be. The headline of the show, Solskjaer wants PSG star. This is something that's been floating around the media for a while, and certainly again in the press today. Solskjaer really wanting Rabiot. Now, Adrien Rabiot not playing for PSG at the moment. Tempestuous, arrogant, divisive. Lots of words being thrown at him. Will be leaving PSG this summer. I always felt he was going to Barcelona. And what's good for Barcelona is good for Manchester United. So all these negative people saying, we don't want Rabiot, he's a troublemaker. Well, PSG want him. A few other clubs want him. He's pretty much going for free. What do you think? What do you think about Rabiot? Because to be honest with you, Dembele, I think, is a player that a lot of teams are going to want. And whether Manchester United can get him or not, I don't know. Rabiot is a player that we could potentially pull that deal off. What is Rabiot, though? Because a lot of people would say, well, he's not a CDM. He's more of a box-to-box. In fact, he can play in all three positions. He can be a CDM, he can be a box-to-box, he can be an attacking midfielder. He's 6'2", he's 23 years of age, he's free to leave PSG this summer, and United, I think, you know what, it's a sensible move if United move for him, because if you're not looking at Rabiot, who are you looking at? Dembele, is it a pipe dream? Kante's not going to happen. Ndidi, I like the look of Ndidi. Is he as good as Rabiot? I don't know. I mean, it's there to be discussed. But what you get with Rabiot, he's very, very good in the tackle. His strength is actually, he's a bit of a beast midfielder, isn't he? He is a bit of a beast midfielder. He's got the height, he's got the physicality, he can put a tackle in, but also he's very, very good on the ball as well. And I think that is something that will certainly be an addition to Manchester United. And I think that not only that as well, this is a player that you could bring in relatively cheaply. Whether we can do the deal or not, I don't know. Hope you had a great day, Mark. Real excited for the United Stand FC, says Jonah Jones. Thanks for the contribution, pal. And Kante says Soul Trap. We ain't going to get Kante, though. We're not going to get Kante. I mean, Kante's not going to come to Manchester United. I'd love it to happen, but it isn't going to happen. Sarri will leave Chelsea in the summer. He will be sacked. And the next manager's not going to be so stupid as to not put Kante in his best position as a CDM. Do you think Ed Woodward will have to make up for last summer's spending since we didn't go hard in the transfer market, Mark, says Philip Burtonwood? I don't personally think that there is a real attitude at Manchester United Football Club to go hard in any transfer market. If you look in recent years, if you look at Sir Alex Ferguson years, it's very rare that United go hard in a transfer market. In fact, there's only been 2 that I can think of that we really have gone hard. Mourinho's first and Van Gaal's first, I think it was. Both of those seasons we were in the Europa League, so we had to spend a lot of money to make sure we weren't in the Europa League for 2 consecutive years. So that's when United spend a lot of money. We might be in the Europa League next season. This is what I'm talking about. This top 4 race starts next Saturday against Watford. Some people have us as the 4th favourite to get one of the 3rd or 4th positions. Some people believe Arsenal and Spurs have got a better chance than us. I think we've got a better chance than Chelsea, but it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a fight. And if we don't get them, if we end up in the Europa League, whose fault is it? I put the question to you. We'll come back to that one. But whose fault is it if United don't get in the top 4? Because I know who it is. Ruben Neves, a lot of people mentioning Ruben Neves. I think it's a dream. I think you're dreaming. I don't think it's going to happen. George Mendes is an agent, and I just don't see that happening. I really don't. We want world-class players, not bench players, says It's Cyphers. But Rabiot, 2 years ago, was being spoken about a potential world-class midfielder. He's fallen out with PSG over a new contract. He's primed to be a very, very good midfielder. And I just think if Barcelona were in for him, whether they're in for him or not, I think they will get him and De Jong. They've already got De Jong. I think they will go for him. Rabiot, you may as well try and do the deal. You may as well try and do it, I think. Wan-Bissaka, Koulibaly, Ndidi, Rabiot would be a perfect transfer window, says and Sancho, says Teo. I wouldn't disagree with you there. I mean, another player that's been mentioned, I must bring this in off the cuff, Alderweireld. Alderweireld again, I read something today, United should be all over the Alderweireld deal. And I was like, oh God, why should we? Why? Because he's going for 25 million in August. I mean, I don't... What benefit? I sound like a dog. What benefit is it to me as a Manchester United fan to sign Toby Alderweireld because he's 25 million and Koulibaly is 75? How does that benefit me as a Manchester United fan? Why? Look, my club is run by people who like to suck money out of it. They bought us on debt and they like to take money out of the club. They're not football fans. They're not United fans. They like to take money out of the club. They like big brand deals and they like to take money out of the club. I'm not criticising them. That is what they do. So why should I be pleased if United get a bargain basement price-wise, because he's a good centre-back, Alderweireld, for 25 million? It makes no difference to me as a Manchester United fan. And I think we get lost in that and sometimes we don't actually think it through. Why should I be happy about getting a £25 million centre-back? Which sounds a little bit hypocritical because I've just said, well, Rabiot's free, we should be all over it. But my thinking around that is that if you get Rabiot for free, you can spend bigger on other areas. And people say, Mark, but that means the same for the centre-back. But the centre-back situation is one of the 2 positions we should be spending big on. The centre-back, we need a world-class centre-back who's going to be here for a few years. And we need a world-class right winger. I don't want to scrimp and save on the right winger. I don't want us to go and get... I'm trying to think of a cheap right winger. I don't want us to go and get Steven Bergwijn because he's £40 million cheaper than Sancho. Get Sancho. I don't want us to get Alderweireld because he's £50 million cheaper than Koulibaly or De Ligt. Get Koulibaly or De Ligt. In the midfield, I think the need for a world-class midfielder is, yeah, of course you want that, but actually, is there a world-class midfielder we can get? If we can get Kante, fine. If you can get Verratti, fine. But if you're talking Ndembele, Rabiot, Ndidi, there's not a massive amount between them. So if you can get one for a cheap price to spend it on other areas, that's great. But this, United should be all over an Alderweireld deal. The guy's 30. He's been injured a lot over the last couple of years and he's definitely on the decline. Any Spurs fan will tell you, you can watch him yourself. He is not the Alderweireld of 2 years ago. He has lost a yard of pace. We're going to spend money to bring a player in like that, who actually in 2 years will probably be finished. So Alderweireld doesn't make any sense to me other than he is cheap. Well, like I say, why should that be a factor in my thought process on who our centre-back should be? Price is irrelevant. We've got the money. Spend it on the best. I'm not bothered. It's the same with Manolas. Manolas has got a £32 million release clause. Let's get him. How does that benefit me as a Manchester United fan? Oh, well done. Well done, Ed. Well done. You've saved some money on a centre-back. Don't give a shit. Really don't. Go and sign a world-class centre-back. Centre-back and right wing are the positions we should not be scrimping on. Go and get the best. What do you think of Ronaldo rumours of him returning, says Jason? Oh, mate, please. I can't even I cannot do another video on Ronaldo to United. It's done. It won't. I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen. We've been doing it for over a decade. The last chance to get him was in the summer. We didn't even try. and he went to Juventus. So I'm not interested in that. It's not going to happen. Of course, I'd take Ronaldo at Manchester United. I think it'd be brilliant for United, but it's not going to happen. That's nice after a good day. You know what? I actually, it's interesting. Well, some people might find it interesting. At the trials today, I was walking around with my clipboard, which you'll see on the video in the week, and there were some very, very good players. But I was itching by the end of it, and then one of the players sort of said, my knee's hurting, I need to come off. I was there like a rat up a drain pipe, took my bloody mic off and everything, got the bib on, got on. Loved it, absolutely loved it. Mark, thoughts on Bruno Fernandes? He's decent, he's a good player, but I think that Rabiot would solve a lot of problems for Manchester United because he can play in a number of positions. He can play CDM, he can play box-to-box, and he can play more advanced as well. I don't think we need two midfielders. And I think it'd be a good signing. I really, really do. But I know that I'm just looking to see what people are saying about Alderweireld actually, because I know there's a lot of you who like Alderweireld, but like United Forever says he's too old. A lot of people say we need a right back. Me and Rance actually filmed something today that we're going to put out hopefully tomorrow lunchtime about Luke Shaw. A lot of people have been saying I'd love to see you and Rance talk about Luke Shaw. That was very interesting. I don't think we need a left back though. Ruben Diaz. Oh, Ronaldo wants the Arsenal move. yeah. They can never afford him. Hudson Odoi is an interesting one, but again, we won't get him. They will not sell to a Premier League club. They don't need to. KSO93 says Fosu Mensah as a CDM. I think we'd all like to see that, but it's a bit far-fetched. What I want to see happen with Fosu Mensah is to see him back at the club first, and then let's see if Ollie can do something with him. I mean, to be honest with you, Scott McTominay's not even getting game time he's not even starting for Scotland against San Marino and Kazakhstan. He is half decent, Scott McTominay, but I really have always believed that people like Fosu Mensah can be on a different level. I'd love to see him back at United given a chance. And you know what? When he played for Fulham last weekend against Liverpool, he did all right. I mean, he was a bit at fault for the goal, but he has got the fundamentals. I'd like to see him given a chance. Josh Waring says Toby would be Sanchez 2.0 and so would Gareth Bale. We must avoid them at all costs. To get Rabiot, Sancho and De Ligt would be perfect surge of youth. Exactly. 23, 18 and 19. Well, with what we've got coming through in the youth team, with what youth we've got in the first team, Luke Shaw, below, De Gea's young for a keeper, Lindelof's young, Pogba's young, Martial's young, Rashford's young, Lingard's young. We've got add 3 younger signings and then what we've got coming through in the youth, and United could be a big, big team for a long, long time. Sean Gill says just say no to Toby. Look, Toby Alderweireld is a very, very good centre-back. Gareth Bale is a very, very good winger. Tony Kroos is a very, very good midfielder. But they don't fit what we should be looking at. We've tried this. We've tried these 28, 29, 30-year-olds. Let's bring them in. But it was always a stupid idea in the first place. Mourinho was building a team, but adding people who could only give him 2 years. He was never going to build an instant team. United were not that team. And I don't know whether Mourinho can build a team. It's very instantaneous. If you look at what he did at Inter, what he did at Chelsea, what he did at Real Madrid, it's very quick with Mourinho, which is why he wins the title in the first 2 years. United are not a team that you grab hold of and make them win the title the next year. United needed to be built as a team. What Mourinho did in the main was buy players like your Zlatans, like your Matic's, like your Sanchez's, who come in and they're good for you in the first year or two, or they're meant to be. But after those couple of years, they're either retired or on the decline. There were bad signings for United. I think as a fan base, we are patient. We accept we've got to build. So to buying 29, 30-year-olds, it's totally against the logic of building a team. Because they come in as hopefully good players, but after 1 or 2 years, they're on the decline. But your team you're building's ready. And then you've got to replace them again. So all right, you could argue it brings a bit of stability, but I'd rather get the De Ligt. I'd rather get the Koulibaly, who in 2 years is still only going to be about 29. We need to build a team. It's no point buying 29, 30-year-olds on the decline. That's my opinion on it. Balaji SK says, hey Mark, how good, I know how good Herrera has been for us, but he is 28 now. So what do you think about selling him and getting Barella? He was great for Italy last night. Barella is apparently going to go to AC Milan or Chelsea, and we're not going to sell Herrera. He's going for free, so there is no logic in letting Herrera go. He's too valuable to us. give him a new contract. Hopefully he will stay. Hopefully he will stay. Oh shit! I tell you, he was a decent player to keep an eye on though, and he doesn't get mentioned enough. What's his name at Bournemouth? David Brooks played very, very well for Wales again this afternoon. Very skillful, doing it in the Premier League. I don't think we will go for him, but I know a lot of you've mentioned him in the past, and I like the look of him. But it's got, for me, number one target for Goldbridge on the right wing this season, this summer, is Sancho. That's where it starts, and hopefully that's where it ends. There are loads of people we could go for, and I think it's important to. I've said this a couple of times, and I really want to get it in your heads, so that if I'm right about this, you can all remember it. Mino Raiola is going to be very, very significant to our summer transfer window. He's either going to have no involvement or some involvement. Now, that sounds very obvious, but if he's got no involvement in our summer, that means we might get Koulibaly, Sancho, and maybe Rabiot. I don't think he's Rabiot's client agent. If Mino Raiola is going to be heavily involved in our summer, like he has been before, I mean, you think about the summer where we signed 4 players. We signed Pogba, Mkhitaryan, Zlatan and Eric Bailly. 75% of those 4, so 3 of them, that's quick maths, were Mino Raiola clients. This last summer, Lukaku. No, it wasn't that last summer, was it? The summer before, Lukaku. So last summer we didn't sign any Mino Raiola clients because there was a fallout, wasn't there, between Mourinho and him and United. I think that that's been mended now. Pogba's happy. Pogba's his main client. Is Mino Raiola going to have a big impact on Manchester United's summer? Because if he is, we're going to have a very different summer to the one we think we're going to have. For example, clients of Mino Raiola. De Ligt, yeah, good. Manolas, no. Cheap, not as good as De Ligt. Verratti, yes, good. Very good. I'd love Verratti in the midfield. Right winger, Lozano. I'd rather have Sancho, although I don't like Lozano. So, you know what? If somebody says to me, what's your ideal midfield 3, your ideal 3 signings this summer? I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say Koulibaly, Ndombele, Sancho. Yes, fantastic. But if you said to me, De Ligt, Verratti, Lozano, all Raiola clients, I would be like, you know what? I really do want Jadon Sancho, but De Ligt, Verratti, Lozano, I'm smiling. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that significantly Mino Raiola weighted, but I do think it's going to be very interesting. Have we mended the relationship with Mino Raiola? Because if we have, he likes the United money. He likes the money he makes from Manchester United, and we've got a long history of dealing with him in recent years. And I think that is something that you want to keep in your hat, because he is the agent for Verratti. He is the agent for De Ligt. He is the agent for Manolas. He is the agent for Hirving Lozano. 4 players that, you know, in some ways I think should be coming to United, in other ways I think could be coming to United. Or will we do no business with him? And like I say, it's interesting. What about if we got Guendouzi from Arsenal to Daddy Styling? I think, you know, at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. I think the Kante thing is a hypothetical. I think if you could put Kante in United's midfield, Kante, Herrera and Pogba, that midfield would go up a level. He'd be brilliant for that position. He's way more mobile than Matic. He's actually better at moving the ball than Matic, and he can carry the ball better than Matic. He'd be perfect. It's not going to happen. We're not going to get Kante from Chelsea. We're not going to get Guendouzi from Arsenal. We're not going to get a Liverpool player, because we never would. I don't think we're going to get a Spurs player unless it's Alderweireld. So the top 6 aren't going to do any business with each other. That's not how it works these days. You've got to be looking elsewhere. Balaji, hi Mark, how good? Yeah, I've read that one. And Avishak Chatterjee says, Kudi for even 100 plus million. Mentor Lindelof experience. Sad Bay's leaving though. Third choice over Smalling Jones. Prefer Aldi over Non coming in though. Well, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, look, again, how does that impact on us as Manchester United fans with regards to we'll never know that it was going to be Alderweireld or nothing. We wouldn't know that. So I you know, let's play a scenario. Let's play a scenario with each other. Manchester United sign Alderweireld, Toni Kroos and Gareth Bale this summer. Now, initially you look at that and go, "Whoo, that's a great 3 signings." But then you go, they're great signings, and you can argue all three are world class, but they're all pretty much 30, and they're all moving from clubs to step down. You know, they're moving for reasons. Their clubs don't want them. They want another big payday. Where they're going to be in 2 years. So they're three good signings, but they're older signings. On the other hand, if you say De Ligt, Ndombele, Sancho, much, much younger, all three of them can give you a decade as well. For me, it's the younger ones all the time. I think that's what United need to be looking at with a manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. George Kyle says we'd win the league with those three. But which three? Which three? Milinkovic-Savic is having a terrible season, Bulla Blakely. I was a big fan of his a year ago. I don't know what's gone wrong with him. I would be pleased if we signed him, but I don't see how he'd fit into United's team because he plays in the more advanced midfield position, which is occupied by Paul Pogba. I like what Michael Jones is saying. Let Ollie rebuild his own team. I think that's really, really important. Would you take Jack Grealish? Says XXL27. Not really. I think that Jack Grealish probably needs to go to an Everton or someone like that first. I think it's a big step up to go from the Championship straight into a Manchester United side. I don't think we'll be looking at him, although we have been linked with him in the past. We should sign Ryan Babel and Leighton Baines, says GN Zoo. Sarcasm, I'm sure. But yeah, exactly. These older players, it's not the United way. We're not about that. We're much better buying players that are going to be good, not the other way round. I just want to reassure people as well. The thumbnail is not Marouane Fellaini. He is not coming back to Manchester United. It's Adrian Rabiot. We are being linked to the Portuguese trio, says Phantom Comics. I worry about Portuguese players. We shouldn't do, because Ronaldo is obviously Portugal. But I do worry about Portugal players coming to Manchester United. I just don't ever... And I don't ever put that much weight on it, to be honest. Phil Neville's Manchester United Dream Team had Coutinho, Bale and Dyer in it. What do you think about that? Says a lot about Phil Neville's management career, doesn't it, really? I like Phil Neville. He comes across as a really great guy, but I don't really trust his football opinion, if that makes sense. I mean, it's funny. Look, maybe we're going off topic here, but I was driving back from the trials today and I had Talk Sport on, and they had a couple of ex-professional footballers on, and they were talking about Hudson Odoi, who I think would be more than welcome at Manchester United. We just won't get him because Chelsea will not sell him to a Premier League club when he's got another year left on his contract. They don't need to do that. They'll sell him abroad if they're going to, if he won't sign a new contract. And they were talking about Hudson Odoi, and they were saying, one of them was saying, I've seen a lot of him. He needs, if he can't get in the Chelsea first team, he needs to go to a Championship club next year. And I'm like, you're an ex-professional footballer. You're clearly being paid to be on Talk Sport. You're also a pundit as well. You don't know anything about football, mate. You don't know anything about football. And I think sometimes people get lost in the fact, they're an ex-professional footballer. They know more than me as a fan. Not me personally. I mean, talking about you. It's bollocks. Everyone's got an opinion. And your opinion, a lot of the time, will be far, far better than a lot of these players because you probably watch more football. You're probably more experienced in watching football. Hudson Odoi is not going on loan to Reading. He can go on loan to Bournemouth. He can go on loan to Everton. He should be playing games for Chelsea. And I'm like, do you actually watch football? Do you understand what football is all about? He needs to get a loan in the Championship. He's a Premier League player. Chelsea just won't pick him. Loftus-Cheek, he's a Premier League player. He's just not getting games for Chelsea because Sarri isn't in that mindset to promote youth in English football. He wants to use the players that he thinks are going to be good. And I think when you talk about Phil Neville there saying, his dream sign, and this is if he said it. I mean, it might not have been said, but if he's saying that Eric Dyer would be a dream signing for Manchester United, and Bale would be a dream signing for United, and Coutinho would be a dream signing for United, I can tell you this. Jose Mourinho wanted Eric Dyer, and I think Spurs would happily sell Eric Dyer. He's nothing special, Eric Dyer. He's not. He's basically... I would argue that Matic is probably better than Eric Dyer now, and we want to move Matic on because he's too slow. Eric Dyer is... I can name 10 better CDMs in the Premier League. So, no, Eric Dyer, no. Gareth Bale's too old. And Coutinho, Coutinho's a good player. For me, as I've said before, he's ex-Liverpool, so I don't like that. But also, Where does Coutinho fit into a Manchester United team? Our best formation is 4-3-3. Coutinho wants to come inside all the time. It'd be another Mata, another Mkhitaryan, another Lingard. We need width. We need to be symmetrical. We're good down the left-hand side. We need to get width down the right-hand side. And we don't get width down the right-hand side because our right-sided winger always wants to come inside, which provides imbalance on the left side and makes it easy to stop. So Coutinho, I don't see where he'd fit. I like Leon Bailey. We are Future World. I really, really do. Make sure you smash a like on the video, everybody. We've just had a dislike, actually. I think it was Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer is a BTEC Scott McTominay, says Ripadam Singh. He's just got nothing to his game. Mark, how do I go for the trials for United Stand Lifestyle Tube? Well, you get a time machine. You go back to 1 o'clock this afternoon and you turn up at the training ground in Dunstable. It's gone, mate. It's gone. There might be opportunities in the future, but the trials were today. Liam Grogan says, I was at the new Tottenham Stadium today. It's quite nice. Would you like United to get a new stadium or stay put? What a great question that is from Liam Grogan, because we've also got to be topical on this channel. Look, the Spurs ground is very, very impressive. Manchester United ground, it's very special to Manchester United fans. I love the ground. It needs modernising. Would I like United to move to a 100,000 capacity ground on some renovated wasteland in Salford and they build the best stadium in the world? No. I'm sure some of you would, get in the comments, but for me, I want Old Trafford to always be our ground. I love Old Trafford. I think we need to renovate Old Trafford. I think that's what we need to do. I don't want us to move away from Old Trafford. I don't ever want Old Trafford to be called the Hobnob Biscuit Stadium because they pay billions for it. I want it to be Old Trafford. I want it to be at Old Trafford. Maybe that's old school. Maybe that's romantic. But too many things have happened at that club. You know, the Busby Babes played on there. So Bobby Charlton, George Best, Ronaldo, Cantona. It's the theatre of dreams because dreams have been made at that ground for decades, for many, many years. I don't want us to move away from there. But it does need, and it is in desperate need of renovation. But I don't want us to move away. Red or Dead says, Ollie has a plan. His plan is young, youthful players from the academy and the best young talent around Europe. Also keeping that English spine. Maguire, Sancho, Wan-Bissaka, Rabiot. Thoughts, Mark? I'd be very happy with that, mate. I'd sign up to that. Where do we sign up? Exactly. And as I said last night, I think there's a little bit of, what's the word? Snobbish behaviour around Harry Maguire. I would prefer De Ligt. I would prefer Koulibaly, but I like Harry Maguire. And I think as a left-sided centre-back, he'd make us... His dominance in the air, which I think is the most important thing. It's interesting, actually. Way lower level today. But I was talking to Flex after the game, after the trials today. We had about 28 players there. And I'd said to him at the start of the trials, the most important position we need to identify is the centre-back who's going to be dominant and win everything in the air. I said, look, we've got a lot of players here that are clearly going to be good flair players. But if we haven't got a centre-back who's dominant in the air, we're in trouble. Because long balls, who's going to stop them? Crosses, corners, who's going to stop them? There's a player, he might be watching tonight, midfielder, fancy yourself as a bit of a number 10. Very, very good on the ball. I think you're going to be our centre-back if I can convince you, because he's about 6'4". He's fast, he's good on the ball. As a centre-back, I think we're going to convert you, mate. And I think it's very important for Manchester United as well. We need a dominant centre-back, and Harry Maguire would give us that in both penalty boxes. He is decent on the ball. You know what? His pace isn't great, but is that important? I don't think so. I don't think so. If you can't get Koulibaly and you can't get De Ligt, I'd rather have Harry Maguire than Manolas. Although Wendy Simmons says Leicester want 90 million for him. He's not a 90 million player. He's 70 million at top. He plays for Leicester, for God's sake. I can't wait to get the United Stand FC up and running. I can't wait. I hope it's going to go the way I plan. Quick recap when you get a chance, says Jamaican Red Devil. So the headline of the show is Ollie targets PSG star Rabiot. This is lurked its head again. We've also spoken about Alderweireld. We've spoken about Mino Raiola. I think that's probably the one thing I would keep in your heads. The reality is, On this international break, this is what happens on this international break as well, the March one. It's the last time you really get your teeth into transfers before May. Rub your hands together, can't wait for that. Because what's about to happen from midweek is all hands on deck, all eyes on football. It's fast, it's furious, it's Watford, it's Wolves, it's Barcelona, it's West Ham, it's Barcelona, it's Everton, it's Chelsea, it's Man City. It's a very, very, very fast-paced April and May, and all eyes are going to be on previews, match reactions, fan cams, games. It's very, very, very quick. So this calm before the storm is a nice time to look at something that's going to be very significant for us this summer. I love talking about transfers. We've been doing it for 4 years. I love it. We won't be talking about it for the next 6 weeks because it's all going to be about football. So it's been nice to sort of think about things for a few days, and that will go on the back burner. But United will have plans in place, and what we do in the summer, no matter where we finish, where are we going to finish at the end of the season? Will we get to a Champions League semi-final? Will we get in the top 4? We don't know at the moment. But whatever happens, whether we're in the Champions League or the Emmerdale Cup next season, this summer is significant for United. And I think we all know that. And as I said, I think one of the most interesting things about it, when I look at it, is how involved Mino Raiola is going to be in it. And if you want to recap on that, the clients that he has that could be of interest to United: Verratti, Lozano, De Ligt, Manolas, all his clients. If we deal with him, how many of those players will we bring in? If we don't deal with him, is it Koulibaly, Sancho, Ndombele, Rabiot? It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting to see what's going to happen. And I think, football is obviously the sport we love, and we are going to be in for a treat over the next few weeks. A real treat. I don't know which way it's going to go. We might be disappointed in the summer. We might be gutted. I'll come back to that. I would be great as I was a keeper for Fulham, says Lifestyle Tube. Well, you should have kept your eyes on the trials. It was well documented. I can't say anything more than that. But let me just say this. If United don't get top 4, who is to blame? You know what I think? If United don't get top 4, who is to blame? Jose Mourinho and the board. It's not on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You look at his points that he's got in 3 months. We'd be top of the league if the league started when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came here. That doesn't mean anything because that's not when the league starts. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you cannot blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for us not getting top 4 when the amount of points he's got since he came in are better than Man City and Spurs and Liverpool. He's done an amazing job. I said when Mourinho was sacked, getting top 4 was almost mission impossible. He's got us in a top 4 race. Whether he gets it or not, let's see what happens. But if we don't get it, it's certainly not his fault. It's on Jose Mourinho for the shit start to the season. And it's on the board for not. I still think the board should have put their hand in the pocket in January. I really do. I said it when we dropped points against Burnley. I said it when we dropped points against Arsenal. I said it when we had all the injuries. But ultimately, even if let's be fair to the board. They didn't spend money in January. I think they should have done. But how many points have we dropped in the league this season since Ollie's been here? 2 against Burnley, 2 against Liverpool, and 3 against Arsenal. So we've dropped 7 points. Would a new signing or 2 in January have stopped that? Maybe against Burnley we might have found a winner. Liverpool, it was backs to the wall. And Arsenal, that was just one of those days. I think the points that we've lost, really, the Burnley ones hurt more. And I think I've heard Solskjaer say that. The points against Burnley, those 2 dropped there. The Liverpool draw at home, in many ways I thought it was a good draw because of the circumstances. The Arsenal game, that's just one of those days. It could have gone each way. But the Burnley game, that's the only 2 points I look at and think, yeah, we got that wrong. But we've took so many points that could have gone either way. It certainly won't be Ollie's fault if we don't get top 4. It would be because of the bad start to the season that we had. But if we hadn't had that bad start to the season, Mourinho would still be here, and I don't think we ever would have got top 4. Chloe Jenkins, I've been for bringing Memphis Depay, but I have just watched him in the first half against Germany, and his crossing is very lazy and easy to defend. Well, Memphis Depay's been linked to Liverpool, and Liverpool fans are getting very excited, and that's all well and good, Liverpool fans, but let's deal with the facts here. United have got first refusal on Memphis Depay, so Memphis Depay will leave Lyon. And United will decide whether they want him back or not. Would I take him back? No. Would I take him back over no option? Yes. Would I take him back over Sancho? No. Lozano? No. Leon Bailey? No. Bergwijn? probably. Jimenez is performing against big teams, you mug, says Daniel Ailman. Hello, Daniel. I don't know what world you've just come from. I don't know what YouTube video you've been dreaming about, but we haven't even spoken about Jimenez tonight, so what are you calling me a mug for? Dear, dear. I do worry about some people. One match doesn't make a player, says Stephen Pierce. Very true. Should get it on the t-shirts. Injuries has been a problem, Michael Jones. It has. Koulibaly is the only player I'm sure we would sign, says Jake Lovett. Look, if we get Koulibaly this summer, I'll be a very, very happy man. A very, very happy man. Do you reckon if we miss out on top 4, could Pochettino get the job instead of Ollie? Loud Steel, I can't say anything else because me and Rance actually spoke about this on the video that's going up tomorrow lunchtime. So watch the video tomorrow. It's a very good one. Me, Flex and Rance after the trials talking about United, Luke Shaw, what's going to happen at the rest of the season, and will Ollie get the job? So look out for that. Roma Dude says Mourinho messed us up more than we realise, especially with the signing of Sanchez, declining to sign Fabinho and messing Herrera up to enumerate a few. You know, that's a great point. I mean, we all know about Sanchez. We've done that to death. We also, Fabinho, I'll never understand why we weren't in for him. Even under Van Gaal, I'll never understand why we weren't in for him. That was a mess up. But the great point I like there is the Herrera thing. Jose Mourinho absolutely wasted under Herrera. He had one season with him a couple of years ago where he was Player of the Year. He signed Matic and didn't play Herrera, Matic and Pogba really until April. He absolutely, for a year and a half, just turned his back on Herrera. It makes no sense. A year and a half of Herrera's career wasted because of Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho gets sacked and Ander Herrera becomes our best player for 3 months. It's just very weird. Very weird what Mourinho was up to. I mean, I've got no interest in what he was up to because he's gone and that's the most important thing. But a very weird manager. I just do not get what was going on with him at the end. Twan Seaby's going to be a good player, but I don't think he'll be ready for United next season. De Ligt just scored for Holland. Yeah, you don't want these. I don't want Jadon Sancho to score a load of goals for England tomorrow night because it just puts the eyes of the world onto them. I'd rather De Ligt wasn't. But I don't think we're going to get De Ligt. I think De Ligt's going to Barcelona, to be honest with you. I think it'd be good for us, but yeah. Billy F, are you posh? What do you think? No, I'm not. My background's working class. I've never been to university. I said this on my channel, Mark Goldbridge's channel. People always think, oh, you're middle class, this, that and the other. I'm from a working class family and I never went to university. In fact, I didn't even do A-levels. So there's always hope for everybody. Lewis Masong says, are we neglecting the left back backup? Again, me and Rant spoke about this today about Luke Shaw, so I don't want to give too much away. Although, what I would say is that if you're asking me what positions I think United need to strengthen in, the obvious one, centre-back, right-winger, CDM in that order, 3 signings. If we're going to make any more signings, the next one I'd go for is get rid of Lukaku and get a better striker. That's number 4. I'd then look at right-back and I'd then look at another midfielder. So left-back for me is not on the agenda. Did not get an agenda. Apparently Memphis Depay put the cross in. There you go. Gerard Kunabuk says that we should swap Bale for Alexis. I don't think Real Madrid are that stupid. They're not stupid. This is the thing with Alexis Sanchez. This ain't FIFA. What European team is going to want Alexis Sanchez? I think the only way we get rid of him is China. Billet says that Memphis Depay rivaling Martial on the left wing will win us the league. I think, look, if we're signing Memphis to play on the left wing, it would be a big no from me because this is the mistake that Mourinho made. He had Anthony Martial, who was playing really, really well, and then he signed Alexis Sanchez and played him on the left. And I was like, that makes no sense. It's like, it would be like United in the summer signing Milinkovic-Savic, who plays in Pogba's position, who's already good. So if Pogba has a bad game, we're going to drop him for Milinkovic-Savic. But we've got other areas of the pitch that we desperately need to strengthen. That's why the Sanchez signing was weird. We needed a right winger. We needed a couple of other players. And he bought a player for a position we were sorted in. We don't need to go and sign a left winger. We've got Martial. We haven't got a right winger. We haven't got a world-class centre-back. And we need a proper CDM. Don't go buying someone to compete with Martial when we've got no right winger or we haven't got a world-class centre-back. They're luxury signings, those sort of players. You need to fill the gaps that we've got before you start thinking, oh, let's get a competitor for Martial. Let's get a competitor for somebody else that's already good. Plug the gaps first. Plug the gaps first, in my opinion. Both Reith says, what the fuck would you get rid of Lukaku for? Because I don't think he fits into the United system. I think he's a penalty box king, but when you're up against the better teams, I mean, people said, oh, if we'd had Lukaku against Wolves, we'd have been better than Rashford. Well, we didn't actually put many chances in the box, which is what Lukaku's good at. Lukaku's terrible outside the box when you're trying to build the play up. If Lukaku's happy to sit on the bench, I wouldn't get rid of him. But if Lukaku expects to start every week for United, I don't see how he fits in. His build-up play and control is terrible. And we're a team that's going to want to be doing quick movements, quick 1-2s. I just don't see how he fits in. So I'd rather move him on. But each to your own, each to your own. Nick P says, please, no Memphis. He had his chance and he didn't take it. Of course he's decent in France. You could play in France and look decent. Joe Cole did it. You're right. The thing about Memphis Depay as well, though, is I would say it's like anything. Do you go back? All these blokes and women who, you know, they're married or they're in a relationship, they go on Facebook and they see their boyfriend from school 20 years ago and they start meeting up and doing whatever. Should you ever go back, whether it's past relationships or go back to past clubs? And I think, well, you know what? If you start going out with your childhood sweetheart, why didn't you marry them in the first place? Because something went wrong. There's still, you know, it's romantic to go back and when you remember the good things, but there was clearly bad things. With Memphis Depay, if he comes back to Manchester United, he blew it the first time. Young, inexperienced, maybe a bit arrogant, money went to his head, I don't know. The second time he comes back, the press and pressure on him will be twofold because everyone will be like, you messed up before, is he going to do it again? Every bad result, they'll be on him. I don't think it suits Memphis Depay to come to United, and I don't think it suits United for him to come back because you're right, the French league isn't that good, so he could come from there and do really well, or he could come and flop. And if he flops again, it's embarrassing for everyone. So I just don't think you should ever go back. I think you should look forward. Unless it's Ronaldo, which is never going to happen. Zaha's never coming back, Ashton Mackie. You have a read of what Zaha said about his time at United. He will never come back. He will never come back. Obviously, Pogba came back. Yes, he did. But Pogba didn't really come back in the sense that Memphis Depay had a year and a half at United and didn't really perform. Pogba didn't really get a chance at United. That's why he left. The second time was his chance to play in a Manchester United shirt. So it's not the same situation. But again, even at the time, a lot of people think, well, should Pogba have come back? Mark, do you think we will make the right signings, says Baz1. It's the $1 million question, isn't it? I don't know, is the honest answer to that. I don't know. I think whatever anybody thinks about signings this summer, we're in the hands of Ed Woodward, because if Solskjaer is... If it's right about Solskjaer that he's not been offered the job yet, then we haven't got a director of football. Who's in charge of transfers? It's got to be Ed Woodward. Jay Singh says, you missed my last contributions, Mark. Well, I'll have a look for them now, mate. It's not the end of the world. Make sure you smash a like on the video, everybody. Just to tell you about the week ahead, obviously we'll be getting back into football action because it's the Watford game on the weekend, so we'll be having those. But also got a video going up tomorrow at lunchtime that I did with Rants and Flex today, which is going to be good fun. And Daniel Ailman says, you know damn well Barcelona will spank you hard. I love idiotic comments like that. You've got no concept of what's going to happen in the game, and we had exactly this when we were playing PSG and what happened in that game. So Let's see. And Jay Singh says, David De Gea contract still worries me, Mark. Yeah, good point. Good point. And we've already talking about Ronaldo. Seymour Turner says, what do you think of United targeting Joe Felix? I'm not a massive fan of his, to be honest with you, or Bruno Fernandes. They're not players that get me excited for whatever reason, and I don't know why. The David De Gea contract situation, Jay, just to go back on that, if he was to leave Man United, it's our own fault for haggling again. Just these contracts negotiations should be far, far, far more efficient than they are. Right, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Really, really, really appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. It's been a really busy day down in London doing the trials for United Stand FC. All I would say about that is, if you are somebody who watches the channel regularly, if you are somebody who's part of the community, you should be very, very proud of what's been achieved today by the channel, because it's people from the channel turning up for trials, and I think it's in a very exciting new page being turned by the community. The fan channel, your channel, is what we've always said, and today you've got people turning up. And in a couple of weeks' time, when we play our first game, they're going to be wearing shirts that say the United Stand on. Very, very, very proud of it. And I hope that everyone can get involved and support it the way that they've supported everything else with this channel. So I'm really, really pleased today. Very, very tired, but we always do the 8 o'clock show, so we were never going to miss that. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Tomorrow lunchtime, me, Flex and Rants talking about top 4, Luke Shaw, and will Ollie be getting the job if we don't get top 4? Interesting stuff. And then back again tomorrow night as per usual. And I'm glad to say we've broken the back of the international break as well. Cannot wait to get April up and running. It's going to be tense. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be some ups and downs. But this is what football's all about. Really can't wait for it. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video and I'll see you all tomorrow. And all the players for Manchester United's team. All the players who are going to play for the United Stand FC are not only Manchester United fans, they're the United Stand viewers as well. So it's totally moral, total community. None of these ringers crap. You know, let's get semi-pros and pretend they're Arsenal fans. Properly done. Properly done. Speak to you all tomorrow.